the 22nd of December last year, as in less than a month ago, just over a month ago, I was in the Dufferin Mall getting a pair of winter boots fixed. They had a little hole in the heel, and so many of my winter boots, I buy them, and then like after 2 years, 2 winters, they just get like one tiny hole that makes my foot wet all the time, but the rest of the boot is fine. And I used to have to throw them away, and then I found that in the Dufferin Mall, there's this Cobbler. It's like this secret little kind of Narnia corridor next to H&M. And so I've met this guy maybe 3 or 4 times. I don't know him. I like his vibe. He's super chill. Twice I took shoes to him and he's like, I'm not going to fix those because the patch won't last. And then one time I just like super didn't believe him because I'm like, it is such a small hole. And then my other friend was like, I've got a guy. And so I gave them to her guy. And I paid $30 for a patch that lasted 1 week. And then another time I went in and my kid's shoe was like slightly coming away. And I was like, I don't need to pay for a cobbler for like a tiny bit of shoe. And so I went in and bought some shoe goo from him. And as I put it on the counter, he just looked at me and went, you can do it yourself. And I was like, excuse me, how dare you? That was 2 years ago. I still haven't opened the packet of shoe goo in 2 years. He clocked it. Anyway, so I'm in there just before Christmas, and I have this pair of winter boots that I love. They have these flip-out crampons. They're like from Germany, and I found them in this shop that doesn't exist anymore, so it's like I need them to last. And I said, can you reheel them? And he said, yeah. And then I was like, can you fix the zipper? Because it's about to go. And he kind of looked really sad and went, no, my patching machine is broken, and to buy a new one. And I was like, oh, when are you going to get a new one? And he was like, no, it costs $10,000. Like, I don't have $10,000. And as I left, I was like, man, I wish I had $10,000 that I could just give him. And then when I went back to pick the shoes up the next day, I'd said to him, look, why don't we, I was like, you do such a good job. I can't imagine your other customers don't love you. Like, anyway, just like a small business in the mall that presumably has been there for a while. That's like a vibe, right? People love that kind of thing. So I was like, why don't we start a fundraiser? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, we'll just stick a link up online and people can donate. And he said, is this legal? And I was like, it is legal. And I said, do you have a computer? No, I don't have a computer. Of course, he's a cobbler. He doesn't need a computer. So I was like, look, I'll bring my computer in. We can hawk H&M's Wi-Fi. It turned out he had Wi-Fi. And then I said, we'll set it up. And so I bring my computer in the next day. And I'm sitting there and I take some pictures of him. And, we take a screenshot of the machine to prove to people that it does cost $10,000. And it turns out it's like a bit more with HST and shipping and everything. And then I have to do a write-up, and I'm like, well, I am a communications professional, and so I should be quite good at this. Like, usually I'm helping people write talks, or I'm like running workshops on persuasive communication, but presumably I can do this. And so the things that I did was like I had a top line, because I know some people won't read past the first few lines, so the top line was like, Alazar Bienet's 60-year-old patching machine is broken, let's buy him a new one. And then I was like, I should tell a story, because I teach storytelling. But I do not know this man. I had 0 stories. And like, he's not offering me anything because he's such a chill dude. And so I was like, I guess I'll just tell the story about when I brought my boot in and asked if he could fix the zip. So I tell this story, and then I'm like, this is what we need it for. And this is 2 days before Christmas also. I'm like, no one is going to donate to us. But I stick it in the Dufferin Grove Facebook group, and a few people comment. People are like, he's great. And also I did the first donation because nobody ever wants to go, be the first person. And so I put one in, and then I like sent it to just, some of my friends was like, does anyone want to donate? So within a week, we've got to $1,500. And I'm like, great. And I message him and say, it's Christmas. Like, I've got family in town. I'm super busy. I will, first week of New Year, I'm super busy, but then after that, like, I'll go hard on promoting this. Is it okay? So then what day are we in? Tuesday. So Thursday before last, I posted it in another Facebook group. This one, it turned out the Dufferin Grove one is private. This one isn't, so people can share things. And then I also did a little like picture post on my socials. And then something fucking happened. And we just started getting like donation. And there was maybe like 15 people gave $100, but most people it was like $50 or less. And then Toronto Today, that was another thing that happened on the same Thursday, was TorontoToday.ca had seen it. They clearly like scour the Facebook groups for news. and they'd done a little interview with us. I learned more about this man than I had ever known from the interview. And so they do a little interview with us, just like a written up interview. And then as it's starting to go up, I'm like, the CBC are in touch. And at first I'm like, oh, is it going to be, Metro Morning? And they're like, we want to do web, TV, radio. And then CTV get in touch, and then the Toronto Star. And then on Monday, I message Alazar, and I'm like, we're going to make our goal, and we're getting a lot of press that's going to happen afterwards. So I think we should decide on a charity that we can send the money to after we get to the goal. And I wanted to make it something relevant, but I'm also always like, how can we sneak activism into this thing so that people don't even know that they're supporting activism? And so I managed to find an organization called the Makila Network that is a Toronto-based organization. They don't have any social media at all, and they fight for the rights of garment and footwear workers. So they're like making sure that they're well paid, making sure that they're well treated. Sometimes this is about lobbying government. Sometimes this is about protesting corporations. Like, they're awesome. And so we agree that we're going to give the extra things to them. And then on Tuesday, and this also all is happening in like literally the busiest week of my life. Like, I've got like mad work deadlines, and then like all this life admin, and I'm co-organizing and co-hosting the talent show at my kid's school, which my kid is 8. Like, the talent show's a shit show. It's like a lot of, Archie was there. It's a lot of like 2 7-year-olds doing close-up magic, but like on quite a high stage with 60 people far away. And then the close-up magic just goes on for 5 minutes, and they're so quiet that you can't hear what they're saying. And then like a puppet show that's just some kid holding their stuffy. Like, it's really, it's nice to give everybody a chance to be on stage. But no one was there for the talent, let's be honest. Anyway, so I come back from this talent show, and it's such a funny thing because I realized, and then I look, and we made the goal. And so it was amazing. So it was $11,000 the goal. And so I take a screenshot and I send it to Alazar, and I'm like, Alazar, so I'm like, send him a screenshot. We made the goal, Alazar. Oh my God, this is amazing. I hope you feel so proud of yourself. The community has come together to support you. Congratulations. And then there's like the 3 dots, and then it's just like, congratulations to you also. Nothing else. And it was kind of a funny thing because I had all these deadlines, and they're like some scary work things that, like, you know how there's certain work things that like press your I'm a fucking loser button, and it was just like pressing that button, and then I was like, oh God, I've done this thing that objectively makes me a winner, and I feel like such a fucking loser. And then I was like, oh, I should make like a TikTok. So I have quite a big following on TikTok, but because of the algorithm, you never know what's gonna blow up. And so I'm like, I should make a video on TikTok because it's like I've got to like catch the zeitgeist of like, we made the goal tonight. So even though it's like late at night and I'm all like covered in rubbed off makeup and wearing this gold dress that I've been doing the show in, and like don't bother, like I had a big zit and I'm like, I can't even be fucking bothered to put cover up on, no one's even gonna see this. And so then I post the video, and I'm like trying to do B-roll, which is not a thing I'm skilled at, so it takes me hours, and I go to bed really late, and I'm like, you're such a fucking loser, you've got so much to do and you went to bed so fucking late, you loser. And then I go to sleep and I wake up, and both Instagram and TikTok have gone viral, but Instagram has gone like hella viral in a way that it never usually does for me. And so then I'm just like reading these comments and just like crying, and there's all these people being like, I woke up this morning and was in a bad mood, and then I saw your thing, and now I'm crying over my coffee, and I'm like, oh my God. And then there's so many people being like, oh, I go to that guy, he's amazing. Like, I have never seen a thing where it's not just that nobody has anything negative to say, it's that everybody raves about him. There's this one woman who's like, I took my kid's shoes in, and he said, I won't do a patch because it won't last. And I said, be straight with me. If you do one, how long will it last? And he said a month. And I was like, that's all I need till my kid grows out of the shoe anyway. And there's like so many stories like this as I'm crying, and I'm like, maybe I'm not a loser, but also anyway. And then it has continued to blow up. And then we're on CV. So then we were on like CTV National News. We were on, which like always I go and I'm like worrying about my dress and putting on makeup. And I also had not had very much sleep throughout this whole week, and like on the day I was about to go on CTV, in 2 hours I got on a client call first thing in the morning, and I have this client she's the CEO of this like giant crypto company, and she's such a fucking hard ass. Like, I both love her and am terrified of her, and we never chat. Like, sometimes I try and chat a bit, like, oh, what are you up to for Christmas? And she's like, I have to go. And And she literally just gets on the, and she like literally, this is how hard-ass she is. Usually when we meet, it's 10 p.m. for her in Hong Kong, and then she works from like 10 till midnight. And sometimes she's like, I can only work till 11:30 because I have another meeting. Anyway, we get on the call, and she just looks at me and goes, "You look tired." And I'm like, "Thanks, I'm about to go on national TV." And anyway, so I do the CTV, and I'm like picking out my dress, and then for some reason, when I'm on TV, you know, going in there, I'm like, I'm confident, I'm gonna go in posture, yes. And then when I watch the video, I'm like, oh, hi, I did a fundraiser. Like, for some reason, always my hands are like this. And, okay, because you're such a good audience, I'm going to tell you a thing I wouldn't usually say. One of the dresses I picked a dress bra combination because it makes the girls look fucking phenomenal. And I was like, that is what I want on national TV. And then for the whole video, I'm holding my hands in front of them. Nobody even knows. And, anyway, and then we're on CBC, like fucking national TV, and then they use this, and then they like, you know, have the CBC clip, and then we're on CBC online as well. And then I get a fucking email. Okay, there's going to be a small subset of people in the room who are like, fuck, and everyone else is going to be like, what? I get a fucking email asking if I want to go on CBC Radio 1's flagship evening show As It Happens. Yes! This show, if you don't know, this show's been running since the 70s. Me and my kid listen to it like every single week. It's just people calling in, and it's always like, Jenny found a weird frog in her back garden. Jenny, how did it feel when you found the frog? And she's like, well, I didn't really know it was a frog. It looked like a leaf. Like, it's like amazing. And I got to go on, and it was like Chris Howden and Neil Cookstall, and I didn't want to like make Chris feel bad by saying this to the producer, but I was like, I really hope we get interviewed by Neil, and we did, and she was amazing, and it was like me and Alazar, who's the cobbler, both on the phone, and I thought they would edit it, and they didn't, so I got all my fucking activist shit in there as well, and it was amazing, and I felt like less of a loser after this. But the thing that I have found so weird about it is like, so many of the comments, so the comments are kind of split between four things. Some is just like hearts, whatever, like heart emojis. Love it. Thank you for your emojis. Some of it is like, Alazar is so amazing. The ones that thrill me the most is how many fucking people have been like, oh, I'm going to go to him. I have a pair of boots that I've wanted to get fixed. I've been to the mall 100 times and I never knew it was there. Like, so many potential new clients. Like, that's what I'm stoked about. And then the others are people being like, you're so amazing. You're an angel among people. What a great person you are. One person was like, you should get the Order of Canada. And like, I fucking love praise. Like, my love languages are like touch, very closely followed by words of affirmation. Like, if you want to get on my good side, quality time, could not care less. Like, the less quality time, the better. But if you just tell me that you think I'm great, I fucking love that shit. But people are giving me this, and it's kind of really hard for me to take in because I'm like, it took me 20 minutes to set this up. Like, anybody could do this. You know, I've ended up spending a lot of time, but only because, as discussed earlier, I'm obsessed with metrics. I'm like, how many people, refresh. But actually doing the fundraiser, like, barely took any time at all, and anyone could do this. So I was kind of feeling like this weird cognitive dissonance where it's like, there's all this praise coming, but like, I sort of feel like I don't really deserve it, but then it's not like there's anywhere else for it to like go into. And really, it's a community thing. And I think there's so many things with this story that like have made it taken off. You know, the world's a fucking horror show. So much of the horror showness is about people being unkind, and here's a story of people being kind. It's also tidy. Like, it's not controversial. There's no like religion. You know, there's no one. It's like very concrete. You know, it's not like help blah blah get back on their feet. But what if they fall off their feet again and my money was wasted? It's literally like, we want to buy them a machine. We'll raise the money, we're buying the machine, done. Like, it's so easy. And it's also like small business in the middle of this like capitalist, multi-corporate conglomerate. And so it's a real nice, like, feel-good, easy story. But so it felt weird that everybody's like laying on praise, and I'm like, but it's so easy to do. And then on Friday, I went in for the City TV interview because they keep coming, and there was two young ladies standing outside, and they're like, you're Marsha. And I was like, oh, fans, it's already begun. And then they say, we're Alazar's daughters. And I was like, oh my God. And so I like give them both. I was like, can I hug you? I'm like hugging them both. And then they told me so they told me some shit that made me cry. They told me that Al-Azhar, that they have watched their entire life. So Al-Azhar has been in the Dufferin Mall for 23 years. And for their entire life, they have watched him be generous over and over again. They have watched so many times somebody come up who didn't have enough money or needed some support, and him giving them that support. And that his dad did the same. Back in Eritrea, he had a shoemaking business, and that he would have like the till, and he would just be like handing money from the till to people who needed it. And so then I'm like, oh my God. And then they said January is always such a quiet month, and his business has not stopped. People keep coming in. Somebody came from Scarborough to get a car key cut. Like, people are coming from all over. And then he told me that people keep giving him donations, that there was a lady, that the daughters had told me that there was a lady who has a disability, and he had helped her. I think he'd fixed her shoes for free sometime. And she got the Wheel-Trans to bring her to Dufferin Mall so she could come and give him $20 to put towards his fundraiser. So the last time I checked was last night, and we had got to $15,500. We have reached the goal. If you wanted to donate so that we can send more money to Makila Solidarity Network, I have put QR codes up around the room. There's some up there as well. That would be lovely. No pressure to at all. But what I really want everybody to, I mean, I don't think that every story has to have a takeaway, but what I want everyone to take away from this is not just that I'm a fucking hero. No, but it's like how easy this is, and that anyone can do this. And like, you might not have all the stars aligning for all those things to raise $15,000, but the chances of you getting to raise like $50 or a couple of $100 are definitely there. And actually setting up the GoFundMe is so easy. I've had like 20 people emailing me being like, can you help me do my fundraiser as well? And so I'm going to make a video at some point where I give out the tips. But really, if you know anyone, if you know any business that is struggling in any way, people love to come together and help a small business. It's literally a matter of like 20 minutes to set up the GoFundMe, take some pictures, tell a little story. And by story, I just mean like describe a thing that happened, like a little action scene, a little moment like I did. This was not an amazing story. And then you could do that. And like I think the reason it has landed for so many people, and this is the other thing that I want you to take away, is like when we are in this situation of feeling like things are so fucking hopeless and there is so much evil out there, that actually you look at this small immigrant-run business and everybody wanted to step up and the community bought him this machine, and that there is still goodness. People are kind. Keep the faith.